Hi Paul, Joe Bidwell here with Mankato Ford. So I just wanted to give you a quick walk around on the truck, seeing as we're delivering this out to you tomorrow. Just want to show you how some of the features work, make sure you got a good understanding of the vehicle. First thing I want to touch on is in the back of the truck here, you do have the LED lighting. So you got lights on either side of the bed. Your button to turn those on is actually just right inside here. So you just click that, turn that on and off. Also down here, you do have a 110 outlet, so you've got that accessible right from the bed. Again, this is the power tailgate, so it's powered down. So you've got a rubber button right underneath the handle here to drop that. You can also drop it from the key fob, and I will show you in just a second here that you can also drop it from inside the truck. One quick thing I wanted to touch on in the back seats. So your back seats will fold up, give you better accessibility, a little more versatility with the back seat there. But when the seats are up, you'll notice that those will lock into place. You've just got this little tab right here on the side that will release it to be able to drop those down. Also in the back seat, you do have a 12-volt outlet, as well as a USB and USB-C, and a 110 outlet. So plenty of plug-in options for your back seat passengers. Moving around to the front of the truck, you do have the Secure Code system. So this will allow you to lock and unlock the truck just using this keypad right here. So I can show you, I will send you a video on how to set up your own personalized code. But to lock the truck, all you have to do is press and hold those bottom two buttons. And to unlock the truck, you'll enter in your 5-digit code, which we'll get set up for you later. Then you do have the keyless entry system. So as long as you have the key on you, to unlock the truck, all you have to do is put your hand inside the door handle. Then as you're getting out of the truck, you've got the little black button here that you can press to lock the vehicle. But moving on to the inside, your panel over here, obviously your window controls. You just press down to roll down, pull up to roll those back up again. These two buttons here will select which mirror you want to adjust. And then you've got your keypad here to move the mirrors around. And then the last button here is to lock the window controls in the back. So if you've got kids or pets or somebody you don't want messing around with the windows, you can lock those controls as well. And of course, you're locking your unlock here. Moving to the side of the steering wheel, the truck has what's called zone lighting. So you've got LED lights mounted underneath each of your, or both of your side view mirrors. There's also an LED light on the tailgate, and then your daytime running lights. So when you unlock the truck, those will automatically turn on. So if you're walking around the truck at night, you've got better visibility around the vehicle. But you can manually turn on the two individual lights on the side view mirrors with these two buttons here. This was the button I mentioned earlier where you can drop the tailgate from inside the truck. And then this button will turn on what they call the Chismal light. So that's the light on the top of the cab. So you do have the option to turn on that light individually as well. Your headlight controls is all going to be with this dial. So the very top position is going to be off. Your next position there is your parking lights, automatic headlights, and then to manually turn on the headlights. Now one thing to note with the automatic headlights is that will also do automatic high beams. So your high beams will turn on and off automatically as cars are coming at you or in front of you. As soon as there's nobody coming at you or in front of you, those will turn on. And again, they dim as soon as it senses another vehicle. These two buttons allow you to adjust the brightness of your instrument cluster. And then you also do have fog lights on the truck, so that's accessible just by pressing inwards on your headlight dial. And lastly, I want to touch on these controls is your parking brake. So that's all now an electronic switch. So that's going to be with this lever right here. For your windshield wipers, that will all be accessible right from this stock here on the end. So you just turn that dial to adjust your speed. And for your washer fluid, they've got the button just on the very end here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the truck into accessory mode, and I'll show you a few more options here on the steering wheel. So all of your cruise control is set up on the left-hand side. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your cruise control is on and ready to go. So you'll press this button right here, and you'll notice in the dash that set light will illuminate. That'll let you know that the system's ready to go. To set your cruise, you can use the top or the bottom button, and then those will increase your speed and decrease your speed when your cruise is set. And then you have your cancel and resume right in the center. This button right here, so your truck has what they call adaptive cruise control. So when you've got your cruise set, you come up on a vehicle that's going slower, the truck will automatically slow down and match the speed of the vehicle in front of you. This button will adjust how closely you want to follow that vehicle. So as you press that button when your cruise is set, you're going to notice lights in the dash that'll show you different lines. The more lines, the further the distance. The less lines, the closer. Down here, you've got volume control and also your Bluetooth button. And there's some extra functionality now with the Bluetooth button that I'll show you here in a moment as well. But then moving on to the right-hand side of the steering wheel, these buttons here will allow you to go through different information on the instrument cluster. I'm going to pan out here a little bit so I can show you. So you've got your trip computer. As you use the up and down arrows, you'll notice a trip 2, eco coach, auto start stop, radio information, fuel economy information is all accessible right at your fingertips. You also have the menu button where you can toggle through. You can actually select certain screens. If there's some in particular that you like to be able to toggle through that you use most often, you can save that under My View. You'll be able to see trip and fuel information, truck info, and towing information, all right from the instrument cluster as well. Lastly, buttons on the bottom here. This will be to hang up a phone call if you're on Bluetooth, or to reject the call if you don't want to take an incoming call. And then these will skip through tracks, particularly on your Sirius XM. If you are jumping into the truck, you've got Sirius XM on, you hear a song, it's halfway through, but you want to hear the whole song, you can actually skip through tracks on Sirius XM. So you can do that right via the steering wheel, or you can also do it on the radio screen. Move on to the center stack here. So the truck does have what they call Pro Trailer Backup Assist. So you actually have the ability to train in up to 10 trailers to the truck, and then you can essentially steer the trailer by turning this dial, and the truck will steer itself to have the trailer go where you're telling it to go. So in your owner's manuals, there is a separate book that'll walk you through the steps to set up a trailer if you do want to use that functionality. Your trailer brake controller is right underneath there, so if you do have a truck with electronic brakes, a trailer with electronic brakes, you'll be able to use your trailer brake controller right to the right of the steering wheel. And then down here, you've got your four-wheel drive controls. So those are just push buttons. You can select your 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. And then for your locking rear differential, that's actually just on the center of that button. So if you press that, you'll notice a little light that will come on in the dash to let you know that your differential is locked. Lastly, this dial will actually turn. So as I turn this dial, I'm actually going to show you in the instrument cluster. It's going to toggle through different drive modes. So you have a normal drive mode, slippery, so if there's a little snow or ice in the ground, you'll notice it automatically shifts into 4-wheel drive under that mode. The next one is deep snow or sand, mud or ruts, so if you're doing any off-roading. And then lastly, rock crawl. And then if you go to the other direction, you'll notice you've got your tow haul mode, eco mode for better fuel economy, and then lastly, sport mode for better power. So depending on the conditions, what type of driving you're doing, you've got a bunch of different selectable drive modes that the truck will automatically make some adjustments to give you the best traction, best fuel economy, everything along those lines. Moving on to the radio screen, I'll actually touch on the buttons on the top here first. So you do have the option, the truck has what they call auto start stop. So if you come up to a stoplight, oftentimes the engine will actually shut off to save on fuel. And then as soon as you take your foot off the brake, the truck will restart. If you don't like that feature, all you have to do when you jump in the truck is hit that button. Now you do have to do that every time if you don't want to utilize that auto start stop, but that's what that button will do for you. Next is your camera button. So you'll notice you've got the 360 camera. I'm going to shut the door here so you can get a little bit better look at that. So you'll notice you've got a full view all around the truck. You also have a front camera, so as you're pulling into a parking space, you can see exactly how close you are to the vehicle or the object in front of you. If you click the button in the top left-hand corner, you'll actually be able to select different views as well. So you can go to a full front view, so you can get a little bit better look at that. Ooh, looks like we're going to have to start up the truck. I apologize. I'll go back into our camera here. The next button on the top there will do what they call a split view, to give you a view of the corners of the bumpers. And then lastly, you've got the ability to look down into the bed of the truck as well. So you can manually turn that on. Your rear backup camera will automatically turn on when you put it in reverse, but you can manually turn on these cameras, all with that button right here at the top. Your next button is your parking sensors, so you can shut those off. So say you're backing up to a trailer, you don't want it beeping in your ear, just hit that button and that'll silence those. Obviously your four-way flasher is here. Then your traction control off button, so that's the button you want to hit when you want to do cookies in the parking lot. And then lastly, this button here is for your hill descent control. So it uses the engine and the transmission to help brake the vehicle if you're going down a very steep grade, doing some off-roading, things along those lines. To touch base on the radio real quick here, you'll notice you've got a split screen for your radio. So you can have some information on the big side of the screen, and then there's different selections that you can choose to have on the right-hand side. But to start, I'll touch on the radio aspect of it. So now there's 3 different ways that you can change a radio station. The first is using the old school tuner knob. You can also do what they call a direct tune. You can just click the direct tune button. You can type in whatever station it is that you want. And then lastly, you are also able to hit your Bluetooth button and tell it what station you want it to tune to. So if you're cruising down the road, you don't have to take your eyes off the road to look at the radio screen. You can do all that by voice command. So I'll give you a quick example of that here.
Please try again.
Tune to 103.5.
Tuning to FM 103.5.
So again, as you're cruising down the road, just click your Bluetooth button, tell it what station you want, it'll automatically dial in. To save a preset, those are all going to be listed right across the bottom here. And all you have to do is press and hold once you've got it tuned into the station you want. And there you've noticed it'll override and set that as your preset. You also notice there's 2 little bars here, so you can actually swipe, and you've got another list of presets there as well. Your next button down here is for your phone. So to set up Bluetooth, you want to go into your phone menu, click your Add a Phone button, and then it'll go through the prompts on your phone in your Bluetooth menu to be able to get that set up for you. Next is your navigation button. So again, I mentioned that you've got a selection of the screen on the side. So you can either hit your nav button here, or if your navigation is showing on this side, you're also able to just swipe that across. And they've made the navigation system very, very intuitive. So there's a couple of different ways that you can enter an address. The first is hitting the search button, and then you can type in whatever address you're looking for. You notice you can also go through your recent, saved, you can look for gas stations, food, attractions, a bunch of different options that way. But it is predictive texting, so as you start to type in an address, it is going to start guessing as to what you are inputting. So I'm just going to put in the dealership address here to give you that example. So you'll notice it populated right there, so you can click on that. And then you have the option, if it's a business, it may give you the option to be able to make a phone call to that location. You can also save it as a favorite, look at alternate routes. Otherwise, you can also just hit the start button, and that'll kick in your directions for your address. Then again, I mentioned that there is a couple of different ways that you can enter an address. Just like you changed your radio station by voice command, you can do the same thing with your navigation. So you're able to click your Bluetooth button. You can tell it either find an address or find a place. Then tell it where you want to go, and the system will give you prompts to walk you through that and get it set up. So again, as you're cruising down the road, just makes that nice and easy. You will notice there's these little arrow buttons right here in the bottom right-hand corner. So that will allow you to expand your navigation screen. So it'll drop out that right-hand screen there for you to give you a little bit better view. Your next button here is a favorite button. So that actually allows you to select which item you want to be that button. So you can see here it's got a bunch of different options that you can choose from, and you can always edit that at any point. So for example, you wanted your phone list. You'll notice now that's populated as that button. But you'll always be able to go up into edit your favorite. Oh, let me do this real quick. And you'll notice it changed to edit at the bottom. Click that, and then that'll allow you to change that if you want to change that in the future. Next, your apps button on the bottom here. There are some apps that are compatible with the sync system. Typically, they're mostly music apps like iHeartRadio, Pandora, things along those lines. We'll actually be able to access and run those apps right from the radio screen as opposed to having to do it on your phone. The next button I want to show you here is your settings. So there's some personal preferences that you can change in here, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to highlight. The first one is this connectivity button. So the truck has a built-in modem, and what the benefit to you with the built-in modem is now the majority of your software updates are going to be done over the air. So when you get the truck, you want to make sure that you go in and connect your truck to your Wi-Fi at home, and you'll be able to click on that connectivity button, Press Manage Wi-Fi Networks and view available networks to choose yours, enter in your password, get it set up, and all that done will be done over the air as opposed to having to bring the truck in and have the mechanics plug it in, do the software updates. Now that's all done in the background. So that makes it a lot simpler for you. On occasion, there may be an update that requires the truck to be idle for up to 45 minutes. If that update is, again, it is pretty rare, but if that does come out, you'll actually get a prompt in your Ford Pass app that you'll be able to go in and tell it when you want it to do that update, so you're not being stranded, for example, at a gas station or trying to leave for work and all of a sudden the truck doesn't want to go because it's doing that big update. Going back into the settings, the other piece I wanted to show here is under the Vehicle tab. You'll click that. If you scroll to the bottom, you've got your door keypad code. So I will send the card that's got the manufacturer code that will always be good for the truck. And again, that's for that secure code that I showed you earlier on the driver's side door to be able to lock and unlock the vehicle. To add a personalized code, you just type in your manufacturer code here, and that'll pop up a prompt where you can add or erase a code, and then you can put in your own personalized code. It does have to be 5 digits long. But next, the features button on the bottom here. Here you'll be able to go through some driver assistance features. You'll be able to make some customizations to those, turn some on or off depending on your preferences. I did mention the zone lighting. You can also access that right from the truck. So you can turn on each of these lights individually and any combination of the 4. Going back to that previous screen, there is some towing information. That's where you can enter in your trailer, so if you are using that Pro Trailer Backup Assist. But then the big feature that Ford has made a change to now is your owner's manual is actually right in the radio screen itself. So you can click on your features, click on owner's manual. That's going to allow you to search for any particular item that you're looking for. You'll notice you can also look things up by categories. You can do a visual search, so if you forget what a particular button does, makes that very easy. You don't have to know what the name of it is. You can go through and click on those individually, and it'll tell you what each of the buttons does. You can also save bookmarks in your owner's manual. And then lastly, they do have some videos in here for you too that'll walk you through some of the different features. So you'll be able to go through and select one of those. It's like watching a YouTube video right in your truck. Moving down to the temperature control, you'll notice you do have the dual temp, so you can set a different temperature for each side. And that's just turning the dial on either side here to whatever temperature you'd like. And of course your max defrost. And then this button will allow you to adjust which vents you want the air to come out of. So as you press that button, that'll actually pop up in the radio screen where you can select your defrost, top vents, floor vents, and you notice you can select any combination of the 3. Your auto button, you'll notice there's a few different lights here. And what that is designed for is, so it used to be with your automatic temperature controls, if you were to jump in the truck on a really hot day, you've got your AC on auto, it's going to blast that air right in your face at high speed. Now you can adjust where you want that fan speed to max out at. So you can select a low, medium, or high setting. This button here is for your recirculation, so if you're running your air conditioning, just keeps the cold air in the truck rather than trying to recool it. That max AC, you notice you've got your heated seats for both sides, low, medium, and high setting there. Rear defrost, air conditioning, and then your fan speed, you can manually adjust that just by toggling that like a light switch. And it's going to tell you up in the radio screen what your fan speed is set to then. You now have 2 glove boxes. So you've got your normal glove box here on the bottom, but you've also got a top glove box, and the button to release that is right here underneath your vent. So you just press that, that'll pop open your extra glove box. Down here you'll notice you've got your 12-volt outlet and also another 110. So plenty of plug-in options in the truck. And then down here you've got another USB and USB-C. You notice they've got a little slot here, which is nice for phones. You can set that right in that spot. In terms of your shifter, when you are in park, you've got this little silver button here that allow you to fold the shifter down into the center console to give you a flat surface across here. So if you're eating lunch, just need that extra space, gives you a little extra versatility. Next, you'll notice you've got the M button right here. That is for manual mode. So you do have the option to drive the truck manually. So when you press that button, you'll be able to shift through all 10 speeds with your plus and minus buttons right on the side of the shifter there. Lastly, I want to touch on, you do have the center console, and we've got some of the Tuscany information here in that center console for you. But one of the big things I wanted to touch on here, you'll notice you do have another USB and USB-C in the console. And they do have the little notch here as well. So if you do have something plugged in, you can run that cord in without that getting pinched. And then you'll notice that the glove box and your center console are lockable. So there will be a valet key that will be with the truck that will allow you to lock that. So if you do have somebody else driving the truck, you can lock those up, take that valet key with you, and they won't be able to access any of your valuables. Lastly, what I want to touch on is the buttons right up here on the overhead. So the two buttons on either side here are your individual light controls for both sides. This button here will turn on all the dome lights in the truck. And then this one determines whether or not a light comes on when the door is open. So when that's highlighted and you open a door, the lights will not come on. When that light is off, that means the lights will come on when you open a door. For your sunroof control, the one on the right here is for your shade. And then your sunroof control itself is these buttons right here. And you notice you can press forward when the sunroof is closed to have the sunroof vent. So if you want a little bit of fresh air without all the wind noise, that allows you to do that as well. And then lastly, this button here is for your rear window. So you just click that in to open it and pull down on it to shut. I know we've covered a lot of information on the truck here in this video, but I do always like to stress that you do get me with the truck. So questions, concerns come up, don't hesitate to give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever's easiest for you that way. But otherwise, we should have the truck out here to you tomorrow. And yeah, enjoy. Thank you very much. I appreciate your business, and have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, Paul.